there are a million breathing exercises you could do. You could Google breathing exercises. You won't ever run out of different ones to do. But if you want to start somewhere, 1 minute a day, and just take as deep of breaths as you can, really intentionally, that action will change your body, your brain.
Welcome back to Beyond the Steps, produced by Apollo Performance and Turning Point Dance Creations. We've talked about mindset and behavior, and now we're talking about physiology. Kristin Deiss is back, co-founder of Danscend. Dancers are trained to override their body signals all the time. Today, we want to examine the actual cost of that to the dancer. Kristin, are you ready to dive in with us?
Always.
Yes, and I am extremely excited about this segment because nervous system seems to be just the buzzword of the day. I'm sure the algorithm is going bing, 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 because we're saying nervous system, because everyone is talking about this very important part of your body that has been ignored for so long. So tell us, Kristin, how does long-term performance pressure impact a dancer's nervous system?
Well, I mean, where to begin? In a nutshell, when you are in a constant state of stress, which pressure can create in our body, there are various hormones that are released when we are stressed out, because our brain is recognizing a threat of some sort. And when we talk about performance pressure, our brain is saying, a lot is riding on this performance. And if you don't do well, enter worst case scenario here. Now, is that a real threat to our very existence? No. But the power of our brain is such that it can trick our body into thinking that it is. And so we go into a stress response, and a bunch of hormones are released because our brain is saying, there's a lion, in the woods and it's about to eat us. And we go into one of 4 states of a response: flight, fight, freeze, or fawn, which many of us know. And if you, depending on which one your brain says is the right one for this, different hormones are released. And the thing with stress is it's not bad. It's a wonderful cycle to keep us alive and get our bodies to react to situations so that we can move through it. The problem with performance pressure is that when that pressure never goes away and it's always there, we are always in a constant state of responding to stress, which means that our bodies never go back to neutral. Our nervous system never goes back to just resting. We're always on the defensive. We're always waiting for that thing. And these hormones, which aren't meant to constantly run through the body, are running through the body. This can lead to decreased immune system strength. This can lead to inflammation in our body that's not supposed to be there. It can lead to mental and emotional struggles. It's not great in a nutshell. So we're not supposed to be in a constant state of stress all the time. And when we are, it leads to a whole host of physical, mental, emotional problems.
Why do so many dancers feel exhausted, anxious, or disconnected, even when things look really successful from the outside looking in?
Because they have convinced themselves pretty much that, that pressure to perform is always there.
Is that the nervous system just constantly in overdrive, which is creating those feelings of exhaustion and anxiety, and just kind of you just feel distant?
Yes, like imagine being in front of a lion that could rip your head off at any minute, not having any relief from that, and just imagine it for 10 straight minutes. Just 10 minutes. And now most of us are in a state like that for weeks, months, years. And what happens is, of course, we're not in front of a lion. Dancers might not even be in the dance studio. They might be at, ShopRite, whatever your local grocery store is. They might be at ShopRite, Acme, Walmart, I don't know, getting some granola off the shelf, and yet they're still in this state because it doesn't go away unless we neutralize the threat. And that performance threat is so invasive in dance culture because we all have to do well, whether that's as a dancer or even outside as a human being. Most people, most dancers don't just turn that off when they leave class. It's in everything they do. I have to take care of myself the best way I know how. I have to go home and I have to stretch and I have to roll and I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to get this much and everything becomes this heightened state of, well, if I'm not going to do this well, then what am I doing any of it for? And our nervous system is in constantly working, and that leads to burnout. And those symptoms that you described are symptoms of burnout. You start to feel emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted. There's a sense of, like, they call it depersonalization, where you're not even engaged really with what you're doing anymore. And you're like, what? You find yourself going through the motions, but you're not in it at all. And your mind somewhere else. And it's not healthy. It's not helpful. It's not enjoyable. But so many of us are in that space, especially in dance.
We were talking a little bit earlier about everything that's going on personally in my life and traveling. And I know that chronic level of stress has impacted my health. Every part of, I trip over things more often. I hurt myself more often. Everything's sore more often. I'm like all those types of things. So I imagine that also happens in dancers. Can you talk a little bit about that chronic stress and how it's related to injury, how it's related to emotional overwhelm, like those types of things?
When it's getting ready to flee, fight, freeze, or fawn, everyone experiences different symptoms, but some of the classic things that we all experience are like the shakes. You get the shakes. Sometimes your cheeks will go red. Sometimes you get sweaty palms. Like, all of these physical manifestations of stress are from those hormones. But what that means is your mind is just solely focused on that threat. So you're not thinking about anything else. You're not moving with intention. Sometimes you sort of lose the control over your limbs that you should have. So when people get like clumsy, like you were talking about, it's because you're not in full control of your body. You start dancing in a way where maybe your mind isn't really in what you're doing, or you're not in complete control of your body, and then mistakes happen and bam, you get injured. This used to happen with my son when he was a toddler. It was the most interesting thing that I have ever observed in a young person. Without fail, every time he would be really upset about something, he threw huge temper tantrums when he was like 2. He would always get hurt. Always get hurt. Just like a fall, of this, he dropped that. And I'm like watching this happen in real time. And I can't help but think, this is what's going on in dance studios all the time. We are losing control of our bodies that we work so hard for. And it's not helping our performance. It's not helping our rehearsals. It's not helping our training in the studio, because we are not fully in our bodies. We are not fully present mentally and emotionally, and we are not fully in control. And so it can lead to injury left and right because of those things.
So what are some early signs that a dancer's nervous system is overloaded? Even if because my understanding is, even if they're performing well, your nervous system can still be in overdrive. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. So what are those signs?
Yeah, eventually you won't. So I'll say this, because people will say that too. Like, well, I feel like my nervous system is out of whack, but it's helping me. Or I'm still doing it, right? So like, what is the harm? Eventually it will catch up to you. Like, it always will. And it's not sustainable. If you want something that is sustainable, which all of us, I think, want, you really have to start looking at your nervous system. And a few things that are just sort of big indicators of that is like, are you always doing everything in a rush? How often in the day are you like, I have to eat or I have to pee, but I don't have time for that? Or yeah, like you don't have a minute to sit. You don't have a minute to think. You just are going on to the next, onto the next, onto the next, onto the next, onto the next. generally speaking, that action, living like that and behaving like that, will always put your nervous system into overdrive. If you have trouble sleeping, that's a dead giveaway. Sometimes people tend to oversleep. Sometimes people have trouble with sleeping. It depends on if you are freezing or fighting or fleeing. So the symptoms look a little bit different. If you have digestive issues, that's also a dead give. I mean, obviously these things are symptoms of all kinds of stuff, but we're learning more and more that the nervous system can sometimes be the like at the center of all of these other things. And if we are able to get that under control, it can help at least point to where the real issues lie. I would also say if you have a hard time sitting and like not doing anything for 5 minutes, you might want to look into that. And it's not, and I say this like I have this figured out. I don't, by the way. I pick up my phone more times than I don't even know why I pick it up half the time. I just start pressing buttons. I'm like, what am I doing? My body is constantly looking for feedback and I need things to go because I'm in a stress response. I can't just relax and be at ease. So if that is you, number one, you're not alone. And number two, there are ways to get that under control for sure.
Speaking of that, talking about regulation, let's talk about regulation. Now that we have all identified ourselves here, thank you. Now we all know that we're here and we're not alone. We know we're here and we know we're not alone now. How can all of us? What are some nervous system friendly regulation practices that once you recognize yourself, can you do?
I'm going to say something and a lot of people aren't going to like it because it sounds so silly and so simple, but I'm telling you that the science shows and suggests its power and its ability to heal, take us out of burnout, and put our nervous systems back into a neutral place. And it starts with breathing. When you, generally speaking, when you are in a burnt out place or you're experiencing a lot of chronic stress and your nervous system's all a whack, you're not really taking deep breaths. You're breathing super shallow because your body is getting ready to like do something, right? So your breathing usually quickens and you take really shallow breaths. When we take deep intentional breaths, it sends signals to our brain that we are safe, because we wouldn't be breathing this way if there were a real threat to our very existence. And the more we can do that, it's sort of like working the system in reverse. It can dissolve that threat. Now, this isn't like, oh, all I have to do is take one deep breath and I'm good. This is a daily practice. This is a daily thing that you should be doing. But you don't need an hour a day to do it. I would say start with 1 minute, set a timer. And for 1 minute, there are a million breathing exercises you could do. You could Google breathing exercises. You won't ever run out of different ones to do. But if you want to start somewhere, 1 minute a day and just take as deep of breaths as you can, really intentionally. And that action, and I said this a few episodes back, that action will change your body, your brain, the way that your nervous system is operating, and it will slowly creep into the places where it's a problem, aka dance. That pressure that you feel, you'll still feel it, but here's the thing, you'll be able to take yourself out of it. You'll be able to complete the stress cycle. It's not bad to be nervous before you're on stage. It's not bad to feel the pressure to perform well. And in fact, studies of Olympic athletes show that there's like a sweet spot of nerves that help us perform at our best. We just need to be able to get out of that when we're finished.
So going to that place isn't necessarily the bad part. Getting to the part where you're stressed or you have anxiety. Anxiety, which we learned last season, Melissa, is actually a really healthy thing for your body to go through, and it's a normal feeling, right? But it's not being able to come out of that loop where we get in trouble.
Correct. It's if we cannot finish that, then we're in big trouble. And so if we can develop a practice where this breathing can reset our nervous system, that's just one tool of like coming back down off that high of like, oh, the performance high or class high or whatever. You need to be able to come out of it. And this is why I love breathing so much. It's free. It's something we're already doing. And it's so overlooked. Like it's so simple.
I think sometimes people feel with the breathing like, yeah, right. Like it's a little woo woo,
Because they're like, I'm doing it anyway, and it doesn't seem to be working. I'm breathing right now, and it's like, well, yeah, you need to develop a habit.
There is a science to it. There is a way to do it that is proven to bring your nervous system back down to normal levels of operation.
Oh, I was going to say there's a whole host of things that you could do. None of them, I think, are as simple to start with as breathing is.
Yeah, we have episodes on the show where people have given.
Yeah, about breathing. Yeah, we have a whole breath work episode. I think we have more than one about breath work. I was going to say I'm the person who gets anxious and upset because I can't breathe correctly using the breathing exercise. I'm the person who goes into fight or flight because I'm like, this breathing exercise is not working.
100%. I'm that way too. And that's like light bulbs should go, right? That's a huge indicator that you need it more.
Right. Hey, you're way, way, way down the spectrum. You need like maybe longer than a minute if you're getting upset, if you're going into fight or flight because of the breathing exercise.
And I will say this too, that's a normal response. That might happen. And don't give up. Don't like keep at it, because it will get easier and it will start to feel more comfortable. A lot of people will tell me, especially when it comes to things like meditation, which I feel like is a step later, like get your breathing down first, right? But a lot of people, no, I can't do that. Like it makes me so uncomfortable. I can't sit still. I get like this, and I'm like, that's why you need it. And you have to try your best. Like at a minute of discomfort won't kill you. And it's that just the habit of doing it, which is really important. It'll get easier.
I love it. We this has just been such an impactful series, and I really hope that everyone watches and shares. I want to share just one more time about our Free Steps Initiative program. It's a 5-part course series of education and resources where you can kind of go at your own pace, but it's going to highlight everything from gender inequity, sex abuse prevention, racism, nutrition, psychology, and dance medicine and science. It is a fantastic course, and again, absolutely free to you. Kristin, we're going to pop the link below, by the way. But Kristin, I want to make sure you have a chance one more time to share all of the contact information for you, for Danscend, how people can take advantage of the services you guys offer. You're doing great work to address the mental health side of the dance community and performing arts. Kind of tell us all the things one more time.
I would be happy to. You can find us on Instagram at Danscend Official. You can send us an email at hello@danscend.com. You can head to our new website, danscend.com. That's DANSCEND, and find everything we offer there, from workshops for dancers, for teachers, to certifications for judges, for instructors, for dance organization staff. And then lastly, we have just launched our first set of library of resources for dance teachers to use in the studio with their students to support their mental wellness. And we have lots more coming. We have a dancer library coming up next. First, we are starting with the dance teacher, and you can start your subscription to the dance teacher library for free for 14 days. To see if you like it, poke around, use some of our sources, and then you can decide to stay if you think it's as great as we think it is.
Awesome. That is amazing. Please check out that dance teacher library. There is nothing like it out there. So please take advantage of it. It's 14 days. It's free. Try it. Poke around. See if you like it. You never know. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to say thank you to you, Kristin. Truly, the work that you're doing, you and Michele are doing in Danscend is just amazing. And we really, really appreciate you coming and taking the time with us today, this season, or this week, this whole month. This series has been so meaningful, and you've given language to experiences that a lot of people are having, probably carrying quietly. Maybe there's a little bit of shame around, and you've done it with so much care and compassion. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate how you guys don't try to offer the quick fixes, like you acknowledge in a very real way that this is something that we all struggle with, and it is very community based. And so it's such a gift to dancers and their families and all the educators that are listening. We appreciate you guys so much.
Thanks, y'all.
This certainly helps explain why pushing harder is not the answer, everyone. And next week, Bri and I are going to break down as host what we learned in this segment. I think you might know because we talked a lot about it as we went each week about how we were seeing ourselves. We'll talk about it. We have a lot to talk about. And as we reflect on the entire series and how dancers, parents, and educators, and even any athlete can really begin to change the patterns and work together to do it. We're gonna break that down. So make sure that you join us next week on Friday at 3:30 Eastern for Bri and I's reflections on this series. And until then,